The Honorable Judge Murphy presiding. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. You may be seated. Thank you. Morning. All right, so we're back here today again to resume evidence in the matter of State of Connecticut versus Raul Valle. Counsel, is there anything that needs to be addressed before we go ahead and bring our jury in this morning?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Not from the defense, Your Honor.
All right, and we can have the witness retake the stand, Attorney Durso. So. Thank you. Good morning. Please come on up. Have a seat. And, sir, I do want to remind you that you do remain under the obligations of the oath that you took when you first entered the witness box, okay? Yep. Thank you. All right. Mr. Clerk, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Welcome back. We are ready to proceed. Looks like everyone's all set. Counsel, please stipulate to the return of our jurors.
State will stipulate, Your Honor.
Defense stipulates, Your Honor.
Very good. Attorney Durso, you may continue on with your direct examination of the witness.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Ryan, I think yesterday when we left off, we were talking about the fight. Just prior to the fight starting, was the group chat still going on?
I can't recall. I don't know.
Do you know whether or not you had indicated that your phone was buzzing in your pocket?
Yeah.
Do you recall whether or not you said anything in the group chat?
I think I mentioned one time just calling them pussies, but that's it. That's all I said. I only said one thing.
Okay. And when you came out into the yard to confront the defendant and Mr. De Silva, were you closer to Mr. De Silva or the defendant?
The defendant.
And at any point in time during the night, do you recall fighting anybody other than the defendant?
No.
So when the fight, I think we played the video yesterday. Did we play the video yesterday? When the video is playing when it starts, is that the beginning of the actual fight, or do you, from what your recollection is, or did that? When did the fight? With regards to the video,
Yeah.
when did the fight happen? Was it?
That video is probably 20 seconds into the fight.
Okay.
Already.
And 20 seconds into the fight, you had already fought with the defendant at this point? And at some point in time, what are you doing after you, well, tell us again how you fought with the defendant.
So I kind of was just over top of the defendant, punched him in the face 2 times, and then I just felt a jab in my side, and I looked down, and I see the defendant with his right hand clenched up in a ball like this, and he's just poking at my side.
Did you see any weapon on him?
No, I didn't see a weapon or anything. I just seen his fist and just going like this repeatedly over and over again, and just right there on my side.
And when that happened, after that happened, what did you do?
I just like some instinct in me just was like, get off, get away, like just like that. I don't know how to explain it.
And at some point in time, did you lose sight of the defendant?
Yes.
Did you see where he went?
No.
And did you see the defendant after that, before the fight ended? Did you see him after the fight ended?
No.
At some point in time, do you recall watching the fight with Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
And when you were watching that fight with Mr. De Silva, when did it become apparent to you that you were injured?
Like when I heard somebody scream out, "He's got a knife! He's got a knife!"
So when you heard that,
Yeah.
what triggered in your head?
I was just like, he's like, I just heard that and I was like, he's got a knife. Like, who's hurt? Like, is everybody okay? I didn't even realize I was hurt or anything. And then my buddy Ty Wood came up to me and was like, "Are you okay? Like, you're bleeding." And he pointed down at my side, and I had bled through all my clothing.
And when you realized that you were bleeding, what did you do?
I like lifted up my shirt and I wanted to see like what was wrong with me. I didn't know what had happened. I didn't know how many times I had been stabbed or anything like that. And like right at the same time I'm realizing I had gotten stabbed, I hear all the bubbles and like my lung collapsing basically, and like bubbles in my chest. It was a really weird sound. I don't know how to describe it. I never want to hear that sound ever again. It kind of like it like haunts me in a way, but I just got super scared and I didn't know what was gonna happen.
Were you able to breathe?
Barely.
And when you realized that you were injured, what did you do next?
I went inside and I just wanted to sit down and get a glass of water. That's all I could think of was sit down, get a glass of water.
And did somebody bring you a glass of water?
Yes.
And do you recall who that was? Why don't you recall it?
I just was in such like a fog of like mentally. All I could think of was just like one breath at a time, pretty much.
At some point in time, did somebody come in the house to get you and bring you
Yeah.
outside?
Yeah.
Do you recall who that was?
No,
And at some point in time, did you exit the house?
Yeah.
Why did you exit the house?
because the ambulances were arriving.
And when the ambulances arrived, did somebody render aid to you?
Yeah.
Okay. And what did they do for you when you were on scene?
They just were asking me my injuries and what was wrong, and I just had to explain to the best I could what I felt.
And were you taken to the hospital?
Yes.
So I'm going to show you, we started doing this yesterday, so State's Exhibit 61. Remember seeing this picture yesterday?
Yeah.
This individual here on the left, you know who that is?
Yeah.
Who is that?
Ricky Fiola.
He's got the white shirt and the pink shorts on the left side of 61 there. Exhibit 62, do you know who this individual is?
That's the defendant.
Exhibit 63, I'm going to point this kid here to the left. He appears to be a green sweatshirt, black shorts with white trim. Who's that?
That's me.
This kid here with the white shirt and the black shorts next to you. Who's
Sal Perry.
the kid next to him with jeans on with the no shirt on? Do you know who that is?
Alex.
Alex Bernstein.
Yeah.
This guy here with the jeans on, the black shirt and the red hat. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, Michael Samperry.
And this guy here on his knees with what appears to be a shirt pulled up with jeans on. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, Jack DeSilva.
Who's that?
Tyler DeSilva, I mean.
64. This guy right here to the right with the white shirt, black shorts on. Do you know who that is?
That's Charlie
Charlie who?
Connery.
Again, 65. Charlie Connery.
Yeah.
66. This guy right here with the white shirt, what appears to be tan shorts next to you.
Yeah.
Do you know who that is?
That's Jake Villalobos, right?
And this guy right here with the shirt off, with the camouflage pants on, with the shirt hanging out the back. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, that's Matt Lokovich.
And this individual right here with the navy blue shirt, white pants. Do you know who that is?
That's Jimmy McGrath.
67. This individual who appears to be pushing somebody to the right of the picture. Do you know who that is?
Jake Villalobos.
And this individual here with the navy blue shirt, white pants.
Jimmy McGrath.
Exhibit 68. This individual with the jeans appears to be a shirt still pulled up, with their back to us. Do you know who that is?
Tyler DeSilva.
And this individual to his left. Do you know who that is?
That's the defendant.
Finally, State 69. This individual appears to be near the curb in the street with the light blue jersey on. Do you know who that is?
That's DeSilva.
And this person here with the navy blue shirt on and white pants.
That's Jimmy.
That's Jimmy McGrath.
Yep.
Now, at some point in time when paramedics came and rendered aid to you,
Do you recall whether or not you took your shirt off at the scene?
I think I did take my shirt off. I think I was using it to, like, cover up my stab wound.
I'll show you State's Exhibits 25, which is marked as a full exhibit. These items that you were wearing the night of May 14th of 2022,
Yes.
appears the black shirt, does that appear to be inside out?
Yeah.
State's Exhibit 26, is that the same shirt but right side in?
Yep.
And obviously the green sweatshirt, is that yours?
Yeah. I don't know whose shoes those are.
Those are not your shoes.
Those are not my shoes.
Exhibit 27, closer up picture of the shirt that you were wearing that night. I may approach the witness, Your Honor.
You may.
Ryan, you see this defect in the shirt here?
Yeah.
Is that about where your upper stab wound was?
Yes.
And is this the front of the t-shirt?
Yes.
And you see this defect here?
Yes, I do.
Is that the right about where you received your first stab wound?
Yes.
Your upper chest?
Yep.
Exhibit 28. Closer version of the t-shirt. Again, is this the defect in the shirt? Is this where one of the stab wounds was?
Yes.
Exhibit 29. Is this your sweatshirt with the defect in it from the stab wound?
Yes, it is.
Approach the clerk, right?
Certainly.
May approach the witness, Your Honor.
Of course. Thank you.
Ryan, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 83 for identification purposes. Do you recognize 83?
Yep.
And what is 83?
Me in the hospital.
And is that a fair and accurate depiction of what you look like in the hospital the day after the incident?
Yes.
Showing you it's marked as State's Exhibit 84 for identification. Do you recognize State's 84?
Yes.
And what is State's 84?
Me with a wound to my head.
And does this accurately reflect the wound to your head on May 15th of 2022?
Yes, it does.
Start showing you State's 85. Do you recognize State's 85?
Yes.
And what is State's 85?
The tube that had to be put in my chest.
And does this accurately reflect what the tube looked like in your chest on May 15th of 2022?
Yes.
Showing you State's 86. Do you recognize 86?
Yes.
And what is State's 86?
The tube that was coming out of my chest, and then that's where I got stabbed.
And does this picture accurately reflect the upper wound area but covered on May 15th of 2022?
Yeah.
Showing you State's 87 for identification purposes. Do you recognize 87?
Yes.
And what is State's 87?
My stab wound to my upper chest.
And does this picture accurately reflect what the wound looked like maybe a day or two after the incident, uncovered by any gauze?
Yes.
Showing you State's 88 for identification purposes. Do you recognize State's 88?
Yes, I do.
And what is State's 88?
They are my stab wounds that I got to my lower hip.
And does this accurately reflect what they looked like covered in the hospital the day after the incident?
Yes, it does.
Showing you State's 89 for identification purposes. Do you recognize State's 89?
Yes, I do.
And what is State's 89?
My stab wound to my side.
And does this picture accurately reflect what your wound looked like a few days after the incident?
Yes.
Showing you State's 90 for identification purposes. Do you recognize State's 90?
Yes.
And what is State's 90?
My other stab wound to my leg.
And does this picture accurately reflect what the area looked like covered, intended to in the hospital the day after the incident?
Yes, it does.
Showing you State's 91 for identification purposes. Do you recognize State's 81?
Yes, I do.
And what is State's 81?
My stab to my lower, thigh.
Sorry,
But-
Counsel 91?
91.
That's okay. Thank you.
And does this accurately reflect what the wound looked like the day or two after the incident?
Yes.
Uncovered?
Yep.
And finally, showing you states 92 for identification purposes. Do you recognize 92?
Yes, I do.
And what is 92?
That's about me 2 weeks after.
And does this accurately reflect what your wounds looked like a week or two after?
Yes, it does.
Now, is this picture taken reflecting in the mirror?
No.
Looks like it's the right side, right?
Yeah.
Left side?
Yeah.
This is right. So was this taken in a mirror?
Yes.
Okay. Does this accurately reflect what you looked like when you were taking this picture of your wounds in a mirror?
Yeah.
Your Honor, I would offer these as full exhibits at this time.
No
objection.
All right, with no objection, the court will go ahead and accept into evidence as full exhibit states 83 through 92. Thank you.
Brian, I'm going to show you states 83. That's now been marked as a full exhibit. Again, what is states 83?
Me in the hospital.
Now, these injuries to you, point out, you have, looks like appears you have injuries to your nose, your face area, in your head. Were those injuries caused during the fight at 43 Laurel Glen?
No, those were at Lazy Brook.
So when you got into the initial fight at Lazy Brook with the defendant and his friends, that's when that happened?
Yeah.
States 84. This injury here to the top of your head, which looks like the left side of your head.
Mhm.
Do you know when that injury occurred?
That's from Lazy Brook as well.
That's also from Lazy Brook, okay. States 85. Can you tell us where States 85 was from?
That's the tube that had to be put in my chest
Do you know why the tube had to be put in your chest at the hospital?
to reinflate my lung.
States 86. What are we looking at in States 86?
So the gauze is where I was stabbed, and then that is part of the tube that was also coming out of my chest.
Okay. And this, obviously, this is the left side of your chest,
Yes, sir.
and that is where you got your injuries?
Yeah, on my left side.
States 87. Can you tell us what States 87 is?
That would be my stab wound to my upper chest.
And this is the stab wound that caused the collapsed lung?
Yes, it is.
States 88. Can you tell us what we're looking at in States 88?
That is my stab wound to my hip.
You're around here,
Yeah.
right? And this is the tube?
Yeah, that's the same tube.
Okay. States 89. Is this the same wound but uncovered?
Yes.
This is what, a few days after?
Yeah.
States 90. What are we looking at here? This is what?
That would be my stab wound to like my lower butt cheek, pretty much.
So like the hip area?
Yeah.
And again, this tube that's running down, where is that coming from?
That's the same tube that was in my chest.
Finally, States 91. Is this the same wound you just mentioned but uncovered?
Yes, it is.
Showing you states 92. So it appears to be the right side of your body, but are these injuries on the right side of your body?
No, they're on my left side.
So is this picture being taken in a mirror?
Yes.
Okay, so this would be your upper left chest area where the first stab wound was.
Mhm.
Second stab wound to your lower abdomen area.
Yep.
And then your third stab wound would be on the left side of your hip.
Yes.
And when were these pictures taken, do you know?
A couple weeks after.
Now, after you were at the hospital, well, How long did you stay in the hospital for? Do you remember?
I was there for 2 nights and 3 days.
And do you recall what you were diagnosed with?
A collapsed lung. I believe I had a fracture in my nose, and some head trauma, and I don't remember everything else.
And what was the treatment that, aside from getting to the hospital and initially getting diagnosed, what treatment did you have to go through?
Well, I couldn't get stitches because they didn't want my wounds to get infected, so it was really cleaning them out multiple times a day, keeping fresh gauze on them at all times, and just a lot of rest.
And what has your recovery been like?
Physically, they healed up, but mentally, I've never been the same person.
Why is that?
I can't stop thinking about that night. Like, every single day, multiple times a day, I just think about that night and things that I could have done different, things that anybody could have done different, and I just didn't think things like this happen in the world. I don't know. I didn't know there was people like that out there that really wanted to cause harm.
When you were at Laurel Glen that night and those individuals walked on the front lawn and the fight started, did you anticipate the fight being a fist fight?
Yes.
Did you anticipate there ever being any weapons used?
No.
Did you have any weapons at Lazy Brook that night with
No.
you? Did you have any weapons with you at Laurel Glen that night?
No.
Did Ty Wood have any weapons on him?
No.
Did anybody near you, did you recall anybody near you when you were face to face with the defendant having any weapons?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Attorney Smith.
Thank you. Morning, Mr. Heinz.
How's it going?
We have never met before, never talked about this case before. Let me go over with you some of your testimony that you've given here. You told us yesterday you thought you'd met with the state's attorney 3 or 4 times prior to this
Yep.
to discuss your testimony here.
Yes.
You recall that?
Mr. Hines, I am going to ask you just to please keep your voice up, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And when you're answering, you just have to say either yes or no. The court reporter can't get a on the record, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's review that evening. You told us that Griffin Marcinzik was a really good friend of yours since childhood, basically, right?
No. I moved to Shelton in the winter of when I was in 8th grade. So right about when COVID started, I moved to Shelton. But Griffin was one of the first kids I met, and I became very good friends with him.
Okay. So good friends since you moved to Shelton.
Yes.
And you say that was in the 8th grade. And at this time, May 14th, 2022, you told us that you were ending your sophomore year, so you would have been a rising junior.
Yes.
And you went over to a friend's house. Was that Natalia Ridzik's house?
Yes.
And you hung out there at Natalia's, right?
Yep.
You told us that you were doing some drinking there while you were hanging out,
Yes.
and that was you had no more than 2 beers, right?
No more than 2 beers.
How do you know no more than 2?
Because I know it was no more than 2 beers.
What makes you so certain about that? No more than 2.
Because it was only 2 beers.
And that was only in 30 to 40 minutes of being there that you had those 2 beers?
Yes.
Power drinking that night?
I'm sorry?
Was that power drinking? Is that
I'm
fast
not
for you, or
sure.
was that a fairly regular speed to have 2 beers in a 30 to 40 minute period?
That's pretty normal.
And then you told us that you got invited over to Austin Leifer's house, right?
Yes.
How did you know Austin?
I met him in 8th grade when I moved to Shelton.
Also when you moved to Shelton.
Yes.
Did Austin go to Shelton High School?
No, he didn't.
Was Austin on the basketball group text chat?
I don't recall.
And Tanner Chernowski drove you to Austin's house, right?
Yes.
How did Tanner Chernowski know to take you to Austin Leifer's house?
Me and Griffin asked him.
And who is Tanner Chernowski to you?
Another guy that I met when I first moved to Shelton and became a really good friend of mine. He happens to live not too far from me and hang out.
Did you play football with Tanner?
No.
You played football with Griffin?
Yes.
Did you play any sports with Tanner?
No.
He was a couple years older than you.
Yes.
Did Tanner Chernowski provide you with any of those beers that evening?
No.
And you said that he drove you over to 5 Lazy Brook, and that was somewhere between 7 or 8 o'clock, right?
Yes.
And that you got there to the house while it was still daylight, but by the time you left, you would agree it was no longer daylight, right?
It was like the evening time, yes.
Because we've seen the video of the fight outside of 5 Lazy Brook, and it appears to be pretty dark then. Are you saying that at that point there was still some daylight?
Yes, there was still some daylight.
And when you showed up, you heard music and noise, and you thought that was a party, so you walked into the garage, right?
Yes.
And at that point, you still only had the 2 beers?
Yes.
But you didn't make it into the house, is that fair to say?
Yes.
You just got into the garage?
Yeah.
And how many people were in the garage when you got in there?
I don't think anybody was in there.
Nobody in the garage?
No.
So as you're going from the garage to the door into the interior of the house, you see some people coming out of the house, right?
Yes.
And in fact, you came to learn that the party was being shut down or something of that nature, right?
Not really that. I just found out after the fact that the people that were coming out that I saw were happening to be getting kicked out at the time.
Okay. This wasn't your party, right?
No.
And so you saw some people coming out of the house, but you don't know why they were coming out of the house?
No.
In fact, some people thought you hadn't been invited to the party, right?
I'm not sure.
Well, you were confronted by some folks who said they didn't know what you were doing there, right?
Yeah, but the homeowner invited me and Griffin.
Well, not the homeowner, right? Austin doesn't own
Homeowner's
the
son.
home, does he, right? And in fact, Madigan was having the party, right?
I'm not sure.
Well, did you see a number of girls there that evening?
Yes.
You caught a ride with some of those girls at the end of the evening?
Yeah.
Did you know that they were all members of the lacrosse team from that school?
No.
Okay. And you never saw Austin that night, right?
No.
Because he was outside throwing up and ill from drinking, right?
Objection,
what I
how
heard.
would he know?
Sustained. So hold on a minute, Attorney Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, the jury court's going to strike the the witness's response to that particular question, and I'm going to ask you to not consider the question, and you'll learn that questions are not evidence, okay? So the stricken response, not evidence, not to be considered. You'll hear more about stricken evidence at the end of the evidence, and the question obviously is not to be considered evidence either. Thank you.
You didn't see Austin that night, right?
No.
And these 3 folks that come out the door, you say that they confronted you about coming there, prevented you from going inside, right?
Yes.
And ultimately, you claim that they didn't care about that, right?
What do you mean?
Well, you said they didn't care that you told them that you had been invited.
Yes.
And Mr. Valle, you told us, didn't say anything to you, right?
No, he was speaking to Griffin.
It was Mr. Snyder who was having this interaction with you, right?
Yes.
And you saw him on that photo and identified him as wearing that red hoodie that evening, correct? And in fact, you say that Mr. Snyder asked you for a beer and you told him, yeah, sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
You gave him a beer.
Yes.
And you said that Mr. Valle asked you if he could have a beer, and you said, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And you gave him a beer, right?
Just trying to be a peacemaker.
Okay. You gave both of them a beer that night, correct?
Yes.
Griffin Marcinzik was right there when that happened?
Yes.
Were you blocking his view so that he couldn't see you give the beers to these 2 people?
Griffin?
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Do you recall where Griffin was?
I believe he was right next to me.
And that wasn't enough for Mr. Snyder, right? He
No.
decided he was going to grab those beers from you.
Yes.
Mr. Valle didn't grab the beers from you.
No.
Mr. De Silva, did you see him?
Yes.
He didn't say anything to you.
No.
He didn't grab the beers from you.
No.
Ultimately, Snyder grabs the beers from you. You said you were trying to be cool and make some friends.
Yes.
And at that point, you got upset with Snyder, right?
Yes.
He said you weren't going to stand for this, right?
Yes.
You were upset at that point, right?
I was. I wasn't going to get pushed out and bullied.
Sure. You said, "I'll fight you right now for this beer," right?
Yes, I did.
And you put your hands up to fight.
Yes.
And y'all make it out into the driveway from the garage, right? And we saw the video there.
Yes.
And in that video, we see you and Mr. Snyder squared up, right?
Yes.
And you're circling a little bit for position, right? It's a fight going on,
Yeah.
right? You're not just standing there toe to toe like we see some old school bare knuckles boxers, right? You're moving around. You're circling.
A little bit, yes.
You bump into Mr. Valley?
No.
No, you
No.
don't bump into Mr. Valley.
No, I do not bump into Mr. Valley.
Okay. Where was Mr. Valley?
He was hiding behind me.
Hiding behind you?
You could say that, yes.
Hiding behind what?
Me. Just he was behind me. I
He
didn't
was
know he
just
was there.
behind you,
Yeah,
right? He
was-
wasn't hiding.
Sure.
You were aware he was there.
No.
You knew there was a circle of people around you watching, correct?
Yes.
And you were circling for position.
No.
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 You were just going to stand still and let Mr. Snyder come towards you.
I wouldn't really say it was circling, but it was more of just like a little like get a better position. You could say that, yeah.
Right. You're not just going to stand still and let somebody who you've just challenged to a fight just come at you and start throwing blows, right?
Well, in all honesty, that was my first fight ever that night. I never had been in a fight before that, so I very well could have been standing right there. I don't have a fighting background.
Okay. But you saw the video.
Yes.
You'd agree you were moving,
A little bit, yes.
right? You weren't just standing there. And you told us that Mr. Valley comes out and he sucker punches you, right?
Yes.
He didn't tackle you.
No.
He didn't throw any more blows than that, correct?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
In fact, he moves away from you and gives more space after this interaction, right?
What interaction?
The interaction where you say he sucker punched you.
Yeah.
At that point, you come forward and you tackle Mr. Snyder, right?
Yes.
Get him down on the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go off the screen, right? We can't see the rest of that as you guys are sort of behind a minivan. And at that point, people come in and they're trying to break it up, right?
No, not really.
No?
No.
Well, did you see Emily Robinson in that video coming in?
I don't know who that is.
Okay. Did you see any of the girls that were there coming in?
No.
Did you hear any of them?
No.
Fair to say your attention was focused on Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Valley, he had this helmet on, correct?
Yes.
And he had that helmet on the whole time, right?
No.
No, you believe he took that helmet off?
He did take that helmet off.
You believe he took that helmet off?
I see it in the video, yes.
In the video, you see him take the helmet off?
Yes.
And what does he do with it?
He smashes me in the back of the head with it.
And then what does he do with it?
Hits me again in the back of the head with it.
And then what does he do with it?
Not sure.
Does he put it back on?
I don't know.
So it's your testimony, sir, that he takes the helmet off of his head, swings it at you, and hits you with it twice.
Yes.
And then you're not sure if he puts it back on or not.
No, the video's over.
And ultimately, somebody pulls you by the neck up off the ground, you said?
Yes.
Okay, so you would agree somebody was trying to break this thing up?
Yes.
Do you know who it was that pulled you off? And at that point, you said, Mama Lifer gave you your beer back,
Yes.
and you guys took off, right?
Yep.
You and Griffin went down to the end of the driveway, and you got a ride from the girls that we saw in the photograph later,
Yes.
right? And it appeared that a number of the folks in there, including yourself, were holding blue cans of Bud Light. Do you
Yes.
recall that?
Yes.
Would you agree that you were holding a blue can of Bud Light?
I believe I had the box in my hand.
Okay. A number of the girls were holding what appeared to be blue cans of Bud Light. Correct?
Yeah.
So y'all were drinking in the car on the way back to where you went, which was back to Ms. Ritzik's house?
I don't recall if I was.
Okay. There was drinking going on in the car.
I'm sure.
You
Yes.
concede that at least.
I don't know.
Well, you gave them those Bud Lights, right?
I don't recall.
In any event, you got back to Natalia's house.
Yes.
They dropped you off there.
Yes.
You do recall that?
Them dropping us off there?
Yes.
Yes.
And you were there for about 10 minutes before you got picked up by Charlie Connery, right?
Yes.
How did Charlie Connery know to come and pick you up from Natalia Ritzik's
I
house?
don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
Well, you told us that about a week earlier you'd been added to the basketball group chat, right?
Yes.
And that basketball group chat, that included Griffin Marcinzik, right?
Yes.
Did that include Tanner Chernowski?
I don't know.
Did it include Sal Perry?
I don't know.
Michael Samperi?
I don't know.
Did it include Alex Bernstein?
I don't know.
Did it include Tanner Chernowski?
I don't know.
You don't know anybody that was included on this group chat that you got added to.
I didn't know anybody in that group chat other than a few of my Shelton friends.
Oh, okay. Well, which of your Shelton friends did you know in that group
Just
chat?
ones that weren't involved in anything.
Like who?
Like Michael Kinnick, for example.
Okay. That's the only one of your friends that you knew that was in that?
Yeah.
How many people were on that group chat?
I don't know.
10?
I don't know.
15?
Don't know.
20?
Objection asked and answered. He doesn't know.
Don't know.
Sustained, sustained.
You have no idea how many people were on that basketball group chat.
No.
Objection.
That you
Sustained,
told us
sustained.
was about a lot of shit talking, right?
Yeah.
But you don't know anybody that was on it.
No.
Sustained.
And somehow, Charlie Connery knew to come pick you up at Natalia Ridzik's and take you over to Tyler Rich's house, right?
Yep.
Had you had plans that night to go to Tyler Rich's house already?
No.
And along the way, you told Charlie Connery about what had happened at 5 Lazy Brook, right?
He already had known.
How did he already know?
I don't know.
Objection. How would he know? Speculation.
Sustained. Again. All right, so Mr. Heinz, I'm going to ask you to just pause in between the questions so counsel can go forward with his objection. So once he objects, please refrain from providing an answer, okay? Thank you so much.
Sorry.
And again, direction to the jury, the last response should be stricken from evidence. Thank you.
You say he already knew when he came to pick you up about the fight at 5 Lazy Brook.
Yes.
How did you know that he already knew?
Because he asked me about it.
He asked you about the fight
Yes.
at 5 Lazy Brook.
Mhm.
Okay. And based upon that question, you determined he already knew about it.
Yes.
Okay. And how long did it take you to get over to Tyler Rich's house?
Another 10 minutes?
Any drinking along the way?
Not that I recall, no.
And you told us yesterday that you weren't involved on that group chat, right?
No.
But then you told us today that, in fact, maybe you had sent a message, just one message, right?
Yes.
What was that message?
Saying that they were pussies for jumping me at the Lifer household.
And to come to 43 Laurel Glen Drive, right?
No.
You didn't send out the address,
No.
but somebody did, didn't they?
I believe so, yes.
On that group chat, right?
I would assume so, yes.
Well, you wouldn't assume so. You told us you were aware of that group chat. It was going off and it was buzzing in your pocket when you told us yesterday, right?
Yes.
And you would look at it from time to time and just say, oh, that's nothing. I'm not worried about that, right?
Yeah.
Except today you told us, in fact, no, you had been involved. You would agree that's different than just looking at it and ignoring it, right?
This is before, like, I was at the Rich's house. I was not sending any text. This was all, like, before I even got picked up by Charlie.
Do you recall speaking to officers on May 15th at about noon when you were at St. Vincent's Hospital?
Slightly.
Officers Millington and Nugent came in and they talked to you while you were there, right?
Yes.
And you told them that your friends and you had reached out to the kids who jumped you and told them to come to Tyler Rich's house at 43 Laurel Glen Drive now that you had your friends with you, right?
I don't recall that, no.
You don't recall that.
No.
Do you generally, in your everyday speaking, say that you don't recall something?
Objection. Argumentative.
Sustained.
Do you recall speaking to detectives on June 9th around 3:30 with your parents at your home, Detectives Iannati and Bango?
Somewhat, yes.
Do you recall telling them that someone from the Shelton High School group texted the St. Joe's kids and challenged them to show up at 43 Laurel Glen Drive?
I do recall that, yes.
You do recall that.
Yes.
So again, it's not that you were just feeling your phone buzz and thinking, gosh, I don't want to pay attention to this. I don't have any idea what's going on. You were aware of what was happening, right?
No,
Well, how were you not aware of what was happening?
because I wasn't reading the text messages. I just saw the notifications.
But you texted on that same group chat, right?
Hours previously.
Hours previously.
Yeah.
Hours previously, you told these kids that they were pussies, correct?
Yes.
On this group chat,
Yes.
correct? What time was that?
Around like 8 or 9 o'clock.
So at least around 8 or 9 o'clock, you knew that you could use that basketball group chat to text with these St. Joe's kids?
Yes.
Sir, would it surprise you if you learned that those kids weren't added to that group chat until after 5 Lazy Brook?
I'm not sure. What do you mean by that?
You're telling us that you texted these kids using this basketball group chat between 8 to 9 o'clock, right?
I believe so, yes.
Told them that they were pussies, right?
Yes.
But you didn't tell them to come to 43 Laurel Glen Drive because now you had your friends with you.
I did not tell them that, no.
You didn't tell them that.
I did not.
Or you don't recall
I
telling them
did
that.
not tell them that, no.
Did somebody tell them that?
I'm sure.
You know somebody told them that, right? You were part of that group chat. You had to open it up and text on that group chat, right?
An object,
Sustained.
asked and answered, and it calls
Sustained.
for speculation.
So you would agree that when you texted on that group chat, you would have to open it up. You couldn't just look at the notification, right?
No, you can just look at the notification.
In order to text something back,
I wasn't texting anything back.
you were texting on that group chat, right?
Beforehand.
And in order to text on the group chat, you had to open the group chat, right?
Yes.
And you were with Griffin Marcinzik, right?
Yes.
And you could see where Griffin Marcinzik was, right?
When?
When he was with you in the car?
Yes.
When he was with you at the Ridzik house?
Yes.
When he was with you when Charlie Connery came to pick you up?
Yes.
You were side by side most of the time, right?
No.
Not in the car?
No.
Where was Griffin in the car?
Which car?
Well, where was Griffin in Charlie Connery's car?
I don't know.
Where were you?
In the back seat?
You couldn't see Griffin texting?
No.
Did you see him with his phone out?
Yes.
Did you see him with his phone open?
I don't know.
You don't know.
No.
You think he just had his phone out in his hand, but you saw that, but you don't know if it was open or not?
I'm not sure, no.
What'd you see him doing with the phone when you saw him with it?
I don't know.
What were y'all talking about on the way there
Just what had happened.
with Charlie?
Like in Charlie's car?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's you, Charlie, and Griffin in the car, right?
Yes.
And you guys are talking about what happened at 5 Lazy Brook?
Objection, asked and answered.
Yes.
I'll allow it. Go ahead.
And you're talking about what is going to happen next when you get to Tyler Rich's house, right?
No.
And there's no talk about payback or anything like that, right?
No.
And so there's this basketball group chat that you've now told us you actually did participate in which there's a lot of shit talking, but nothing's going on like that on the way to the house in Charlie Connery's car, right?
No.
You guys are just calm, cool, collected,
Yes.
not excited,
No.
not angry about what happened.
No.
Nobody's saying, hey, we should text these kids and get them to come over here.
I was not, no.
You weren't.
I was not.
Was Griffin?
Objection, that calls for hearsay.
Sustained.
You told us yesterday that when you got to Tyler Rich's house, everybody already knew about what had happened at 5 Lazy Brook, right?
Yes.
How many people were there when you got to the house?
20 or 30.
And you told us yesterday you didn't really care, though, right?
No.
You didn't really care. Why did you text these guys and tell them that they were pussies?
Because I had been jumped.
So you did care.
I'd been jumped.
You did care.
Not really, no.
Not really. Didn't anger you.
No.
Didn't upset you.
No.
Didn't make you want payback.
No.
You went to school with Tyler Rich?
Yes.
You played football with Tyler Rich?
Yes.
He was a couple years older than you?
Yes.
And he was the captain of the football team for 1 year while you were there?
Yes.
You'd been to his house before?
Yes.
You knew to go in through the Bilko doors on the side, right?
Yes.
You knew when you got there that there was going to be some drinking going on?
Yes.
And you said that people were coming up to you and questioning you, and they already knew about what had happened, right?
Yes.
Who came up to you and questioned you about it?
I don't recall.
Well, you told us yesterday Jimmy McGrath was one of the first ones to come up to you, right?
He was one of the people that did come up to me.
And he came up to you and asked you about what happened at 5 Lazy Brook, right?
Yes.
And he was interested in what had happened at 5 Lazy Brook, right?
I think that calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Did his demeanor and his questioning indicate to you that he was interested in what had happened at 5 Lazy Brook?
Yes.
Did it indicate to you that he was concerned about what had happened at 5 Lazy Brook?
No.
He wasn't concerned.
No. He just wanted to hear what happened.
So it didn't indicate to you that he was excited in any way about it?
No.
Didn't indicate in any way that he was upset about it?
No.
Didn't indicate in any way to you that he was angry about it?
No.
He's just calm, cool, collected. First thing he asked you was, hey, what happened at 5 Lazy Brook?
Pretty much, yes.
Calls for hearsay.
I'll allow it.
Do you remember anybody other than Jimmy McGrath coming up to you and asking you about it?
No.
But everybody there already knew, you told us, right?
Yes.
So you would agree that it was more than just Jimmy McGrath who came up to you and asked you about it, right?
Certainly, yes.
And in fact, there was some conversation that occurred, right?
With?
With everybody that was there yesterday. Conversation, hanging out, people drinking.
Yes.
And one of the main topics of conversation was what had happened to you at 5 Lazy Brook.
Yes.
You told us you only drank 1 beer at that time, right?
Yes.
How do you know it was only 1 beer?
Because it was only 1 beer?
You recall that?
Yes.
And people were planning to reach out to these kids and ask them to come over to 43 Laurel Glen Drive, right?
I believe so.
You know so, right? Because your phone's buzzing and going off and people are talking about it. And there's talk about getting these kids over there, isn't there?
I'm not sure.
And at one point, Griffin Marcinzik texts the address and a picture of 43 Laurel Glen Drive on this group chat to these kids, correct?
I don't know.
And then you told us at some point a car shows up outside, right?
Yes.
And that car is a Honda Pilot, right?
Yes.
And nobody was surprised by that, were they?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, they knew that car was going to show up. They texted it to come there, right?
Objection. That-
Sustained.
And so because nobody is surprised, everybody empties out of the house to go confront the car, right?
No.
How many people emptied out of the house to go confront the car?
I don't know.
Well, you told us yesterday that at least 10 to 15 approached the vehicle, right?
Yes, but that's not everybody.
No, that's about half of you, isn't it?
Somewhat, yes.
And you could be wrong about 10 to 15, you would agree?
Yeah.
Could have been more, could have been 20.
Could have been less.
Could it have been more?
I don't know.
And you told us yesterday that the car parked right in front of the drive, right?
No. It was not exactly right in front of the driveway, but it was a little farther back. It was about halfway in front of the driveway.
Okay. Mr. Heinz, I'm just going to come around you. I don't want to surprise you, but I'm going to come around and put this up on the easel behind you. Okay. It's exhibit number 52, State's exhibit number 52.
Yep.
Pointer there.
No.
Pointer.
It's right there.
I'll try not to drop it today. And if you would, can you show us where that vehicle parked when it showed up that first time?
It's not in that frame.
It's not in that frame.
No.
So it's not that close to the driveway.
It was back here more.
Okay.
It's over here.
All right. We are going to use State's Exhibit 49. Just move all these off as we get a big step. Can you see State's Exhibit 49 on your screen there?
Yep.
Okay. Looking at that, do you see the driveway in front of 43 Lower Glen?
Yes, I do.
Do you see the what looks like some sort of pathway down to the house across the street?
Yes.
Okay. And do you see the corner of the intersection of Adams and Laurel Glen Drive?
Yes, I do.
And do you see what appears to be a sewer or drainage grate there?
Yes.
Okay. And do you see across the street on the other side of Laurel Glen from 43 sort of area of large trees there?
Yes.
Okay. Now that we've oriented ourselves, can you describe for us where that vehicle parked when it first showed?
More near the bushes across the street.
More near these, would you agree maybe these are trees given their apparent height?
Yes.
So you think that the vehicle parked more near trees on the opposite side of Laurel Glen Drive?
Yeah.
And so in relation to the driveway, you would agree that that is not near the driveway?
It was like that general area.
Somewhere over there, closer to the curb on that side of the street?
Oh, no, they were in the middle of the road.
They're in the middle of the road.
Yes.
There were other cars parked up and down the street as well, correct?
Yes.
All right. So now we've got the vehicle out there, and you told us that 10 to 15 of you approached the vehicle, correct?
Yes.
And in fact, when you got right next to the vehicle, you didn't talk to anyone, right?
No.
But you noticed that, in fact, these were the kids that had been told on the basketball group chat to come to 43 Lower Glen Drive, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
You noticed that these were Mr. Snyder, Mr. De Silva, and Mr. Valle in the car, you told us, right?
Yes.
Those were the kids from 5 Lazy Brook, correct?
Yes.
And these were, therefore, the kids that had been told to come to 43 Laurel Glen Drive, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Again, it didn't surprise you that those kids had showed up, right?
I'm not sure. I don't remember. If I
You
was
don't remember
surprised.
whether or not you were surprised that they showed up?
No.
Didn't you just tell us moments ago that you weren't surprised?
No.
And that car was facing towards Farmhouse Lane, correct?
That's at the other end of the street, right?
That is at the other end of the street, yes,
Yes.
sir. Okay. And you noticed the 3 that I've just mentioned, as well as Mackenzie Trafficante.
Yes.
How did you know Mackenzie?
I just knew who she was from social media.
And you said the 10 or 15 of you approached the vehicle and someone had a conversation, right?
Yes.
And you were standing right beside the vehicle, correct?
Yes.
And you were on the driver's side of the vehicle, correct?
Yeah, I was kind of going back and forth.
When you say back and forth between what 2 points?
Like the driver's side and the passenger side.
So you were going back and forth around the vehicle from one side to the other?
Yeah.
Behind the vehicle or in front of the vehicle?
I don't recall.
Was anybody else going back and forth with you?
I don't know.
Who else was there at the vehicle with you?
I don't know.
You don't know any of the other people that were at the vehicle with you?
No.
Did you see Tyler Rich there?
No.
Did you see Faison Teal there?
No.
Did you see Michael Samperi there?
No.
Did you see Sal Perry there?
No.
Did you see Alex Bernstein there?
No.
Did you see Matthew Lokovich there?
No.
Did you see Tanner Chernowski there?
No.
You didn't see Tyler Rich there?
No.
So there were 10 or 15 of you there, and these were all friends that you'd had and played football with at least since the 8th grade.
Yes.
But you can't tell who was there with you at the car.
No.
You heard voices.
Yes.
Whose voices did you hear?
I don't know.
You said you heard someone having a conversation.
Yes.
Who was that was having the conversation?
I don't know.
Well, you said that initially that conversation was normal, right?
Yes.
When you say normal, what do you mean by normal conversation?
Like the one me and you are having right now.
Okay. So it was just a questioning back and forth, hey, how you doing?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember any mention of McDonald's?
No.
You didn't think this was an Uber that had showed up to deliver something, right?
No.
And you can't tell us who was having this conversation, but it seemed to be a normal conversation. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Right. And then you said, then it became aggressive, right?
Yes.
It didn't just get aggressive, right?
What do you mean by that?
Somebody did something for it to become aggressive, for it to change, right?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Did you see Tyler Rich reach inside the front driver's side window?
No.
Did you see Tyler Rich put his body halfway into the front driver's side window?
No.
Did you see Aiden King at the car?
No.
And then you told us that cans started getting thrown at the car, right?
Yes.
Again, sir, they didn't just start getting thrown, right?
Yes.
No. Somebody threw something, right?
They threw a can, yes.
Yes. It didn't just start from nothing, right?
I don't know.
Well, you've described it as cans just started getting thrown at the car.
From what I was aware of, yes, that's what had happened.
But then you told us that you threw a can at the car.
Yes, I did.
So it didn't just start getting thrown, you threw a can at the car.
I didn't start throwing the cans.
Okay, you joined in of the throwing of the cans.
Yes, I did.
You would agree that it was other people, not some anonymous entity that was throwing cans at the vehicle, right?
Yes.
And those people that were throwing cans at the vehicle were aggressive. Would you agree?
They were aggressive, you said?
Yes.
Sure.
That's an aggressive act, right?
Yeah.
What would you expect the response to be to a can being thrown?
I'm not sure.
Object, that calls for speculation.
Sustained.
What did you intend to happen when you threw the can at the car?
For my can to hit the car?
You wanted those kids to get out of the car, right?
No.
You heard somebody say, leave or get out.
No.
You didn't want them to get out of the car.
I didn't hear them say that. I didn't want them to get out of the car. I didn't care if they got out of the car.
You didn't want them to get out of the car. You didn't care if they got out of the car. So why'd you throw the can at the car?
I just wanted to throw the can at the car.
Is that a normal thing for you to want to do?
No.
Why did you want to throw a can at that car?
I just saw other people doing it.
Do you generally just do what you see other people doing, even if it's criminal?
No.
But in this instance, something about the occasion made you want to do that.
Yes.
What was it about the occasion that made you want to do that?
I don't know.
Okay. In any event, you threw a can and you hit the car, and other people were throwing cans too, right?
Yes.
Were you still circling around the vehicle while you did this?
No.
Where were you now?
I was on the passenger side.
On the passenger side.
Yes.
Who did you see on the passenger side?
I don't remember.
How many other people were on the passenger side with you?
Maybe 5.
5 people on the passenger side?
Maybe.
How many people were on the driver's side?
I don't know.
More people were on the other side, right?
I don't
Objection. He said he didn't know.
Sustained.
Could you see other people on the other side?
know. Yes.
So there were other people on the other side.
Yes.
You just don't know how many.
No.
Or you know, but you won't tell us.
I don't know how many.
Sustained.
You never saw Tyler Rich on the driver's side of the vehicle.
No.
You saw in the picture yesterday of the vehicle that it had a defect in the windshield, right?
Yes.
Did you see that when you were on the passenger side?
No.
You saw it in that video, in that picture, though, didn't you?
Yes.
Did you hear glass shatter?
No.
And you didn't see anybody throw anything from that vehicle, did you?
Not that I recall, no.
You didn't see anybody put their hands on the vehicle?
No.
You didn't see anybody kick the vehicle?
No.
You didn't see anybody rock the vehicle?
No.
But at some point you said the car pulled away and started driving back and forth really fast, right?
Yes.
But they weren't throwing anything out the windows.
No.
And at that point, you were in the driveway, you told us.
Yes.
And who else was in the driveway with you?
I don't remember.
Were there other people in the driveway with you?
I'm sure there was.
Was Faison Teal in the driveway?
I don't know.
Was Tyler Rich in the driveway?
I don't know.
Can you tell us anybody who was in the driveway with you?
No.
But you told us you were talking to the person that was next to you, right?
Yes.
Who was that?
I don't know.
Okay. And you said at some point you do remember that the car stopped at the corner near Farmhouse Lane and Laurel Glen Drive, right?
Yes.
Where were you standing at that point?
When it stopped,
Yes.
I believe I was in the driveway still.
And you told us that you did remember that Tyler Rich at that point was running down the street after the car, right?
Yes.
Where had he been before he was running down the street after the car?
I don't know.
But you remember that he was running down the street after the car.
Yes.
Was anybody else with him?
There were some people. I don't know who they were, though.
How many?
2 or 3.
2 or 3? Okay. And you told us that you walked halfway down there by yourself, right?
Yes.
You weren't with Tyler Rich.
No.
You weren't with Faison Teal.
No.
You weren't with Enrique Fiola.
No.
And you said you were by the trees on the left-hand side of Laurel Glen by pine trees just past 43 Laurel Glen Drive. Do you remember telling us that yesterday?
Yeah, like where the shade is in the picture.
But you weren't close enough to see what was going on, you told us.
No.
So at that point, you couldn't see Tyler Rich anymore?
No.
At that point, you couldn't see Faison Teal?
No.
Couldn't see Enrico Fiola?
No.
Could you see Charlie Connery?
No.
Did you see Mr. Valley?
No.
You didn't see Mr. Valley emerge from the bushes on the other side?
No.
Did you see anybody throwing anything at that point?
No.
Did you hear anybody saying anything at that point?
No.
Where was the vehicle now?
Still at the end of the road.
Still at the end of the road, so you could see the vehicle.
Yeah.
What was it doing?
Parked.
Were the doors open?
Yes.
So you could see that the doors were open.
Yes.
And did you see anybody come out of the car?
I believe so, yes.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Who?
I don't know.
And where was Tyler Rich at that point?
I believe down at the car.
And sir, do you recall telling officers on June 9th when you spoke to them at your home that in fact you, Enrico Fiola, and Tyler Rich approached and told them to leave?
No, I don't.
You don't recall telling that?
No.
Did you tell them that?
I don't recall saying that. You're
telling us now that you only walked halfway down there, right?
Yes.
And you weren't close enough to see what was going on.
No.
But you told us yesterday that people appeared to be talking.
Yes.
What was it about their appearance that led you to believe they were talking?
Like hand gestures, stuff like that. Just looked like they were having a conversation.
Civil conversation?
Yes.
Hand gestures like what?
Just normal hand gestures that you would say while you're having a conversation.
Didn't appear to be aggressive to you at that point?
No.
You didn't throw anything down there at that point?
No.
You were done throwing things?
Yes.
And you weren't upset anymore at that point?
No.
And you watched that for 30 seconds before you went back to the house, correct?
Yes.
Through the Bilko doors, correct?
Yes.
Back inside to Tyler Rich's.
Yes.
And you said when you got back there, everyone seemed to be in there then, right?
Yes.
Did they pass you, the group of folks that you had seen down at the end of Farmhouse Lane?
No.
How did everyone get back in before you got back into the basement?
Because I was halfway down the street, and then not that many people walked there. Everybody just went inside.
Did you see Tyler Rich inside?
No.
Did you see Faison Teal inside?
No.
Did you see Matthew Lockovich inside?
No.
Did you see Alex Bernstein inside?
No.
Did you see Sal Perry inside?
No.
Did you see Michael St. Perry inside?
No.
Did you see Charlie Connery inside?
No.
Did you see Tommy Connery inside?
No.
Did you see Ty Wood inside?
No.
Who did you see inside?
I don't remember.
But everyone seemed to be in there.
Yes.
And did they all seem to be calm?
I don't remember.
Did they seem to be agitated in any way?
I don't remember.
What were they doing?
I don't really remember. I just remember being in there and there was people in there.
So before, when everybody was in there and nobody had even arrived, everybody was interested in what had happened at Lazy Brook. You would agree?
Yes.
But now, after all of this commotion, everybody's back in the basement and you're telling us that nothing was going on, it was all just business as usual?
Yeah.
Was there any drinking going on?
I don't know.
And then you said you heard they're back, right?
Yes.
Who said they're back?
I don't know.
Whose voice was it?
I don't know.
Was it just one person?
I believe so.
And how did they say they're back?
They're back.
Just like that?
Yeah. They're in the front yard. They're back. Just like that.
Just like, oh, they're in the front yard, they're back.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not excited or agitated in any way?
No.
Not, they're in the yard, let's go, they're back.
No.
No, because you said instantly you were like, I want to go see what it is, right?
Yeah.
What did you think it was going to be?
I don't know.
You just were curious about what might be going on.
Yes.
So you decided, I'm going to go out and just see what it is.
Yes.
Did you walk leisurely back to the front yard?
Yes, I did.
Didn't run?
No.
But you told the state's attorney that you were anticipating a fight in the front yard, right?
No.
He said you anticipated a fist fight when you talked to him.
No.
You don't recall telling him before that you anticipated a fist fight when he was asking you about whether or not there were weapons?
No.
Were you anticipating a fist fight?
No, I really wasn't.
So the truth of the matter is, when you walked out there,
Yeah.
you were anticipating a fight because you wanted payback for 5 Lazy Brook, right?
No, I just walked out there to see who was out there.
Well, you'd heard they're back, right?
Yes.
That's what drew your attention to going out there, right?
Yes.
You thought they're back meant you were going to see the kids in the pilot again, right?
Most likely, yes.
The kids that you had thrown the can at before, right?
Yeah.
But you didn't want payback.
No.
You weren't anticipating a fight.
No.
You didn't think, man, I've got 20 of my buddies from the Shelton High football team here. We got pretty good odds on our side.
No.
You were just curious.
Yes.
He told us that you walked into the yard and you were somewhere behind the red bush, right?
Yes.
And you saw, well, first off, when you were somewhere behind the red bush, did you see Tommy Connery?
No.
He wasn't in that area with you?
No. I remember I was one of the first people that walked outside.
You were one of the first people that walked outside.
Yes.
When you walked outside, did you see Faison Teal?
No.
Did you see Tyler Rich?
No.
Who did you see when you walked outside?
The defendant in De Silva.
That's it?
Yes.
So you were the first one outside.
One of, yes.
Well, who else was out there with you?
I don't know.
Well, how do you know you were one of?
Because I can remember, I never made it, like, I was inside the basement, but I never, like, left the area of, like, where the stairs were, like, to lead back outside through the corridors. So when somebody said, they're here, I was already right there, right by the stairs, so I was one of the first person that stepped up the stairs and walked outside.
I thought you told us before that you had gotten back, went inside his house, and you're in the basement, and everyone seemed to be in there.
Yeah. They were all in there, and I was one of the last people in there.
So now you're saying you didn't get into the basement, you were still on the stairs.
No, I was in there. I was just next to the stairs, like at the bottom of the steps, you can say.
The person who said they're back, were they inside or outside?
I don't know.
And you came back up the stairs, and you went and you stood behind the red bush, and you just saw these two people in the yard.
Yes.
Okay. Do you see the exhibit behind you, sir?
Yes, I do.
Do you still have the pointer with the little red tip on it?
I do.
Okay. Can you show us where you saw the two individuals?
They were right about in this area.
Okay. So they're back by the red bush.
Yes.
Okay. Beside the black truck?
Yeah.
In front of the cement square?
Around there, yeah.
Do they look like they were coming into the house?
I don't know.
That's the same path that people take to get to the Bilko doors, right?
Yes.
Where was Mr. De Silva?
He was behind the defendant.
Behind the defendant?
Yes.
Could you see him?
Yes.
So was he behind and to the side or directly behind him?
Behind and to the side.
Which side?
My right side. So it
Because
would
you're
have been-
facing the street.
Yes, I'm facing the street, so.
So Mr. De Silva is on the side by the, what we've described before as Belgian blocks there that go along the side of the driveway?
Yes.
Okay. And where was Mr. Valle?
In front of him, and in like, more like this area up here a little more.
Okay. So up close to the tree line.
Yeah.
And you were one of the first ones out, you told us.
Yes.
And you didn't see anything in Mr. De Silva's hands?
No.
Didn't see anything in Mr. Valle's hands?
No.
Didn't have a knife out that he was flashing around and saying, who wants some?
No.
In fact, he wasn't talking to you, right?
Who?
Mr. Valle.
About?
Well, he wasn't talking to you. He was asking, where's Aiden King, you told us.
Well, he was talking to me, asking me where Aiden King was.
You thought he was asking you where Aiden King was?
Yes, he was.
Do you know Aiden King?
Yes, I do.
How do you know Aiden King?
I played football with him.
Okay. Do you know if he knows Mr. Valle?
I don't know.
Objection, how?
Sustained.
And you said that you interacted with them, right?
Yes.
And what did that interaction involve?
The defendant walked up with like his shirt up over his head, like trying to hide his face almost, and he was saying, "Where's Aiden King? Where's Aiden King? Where's Aiden King?" Just repeatedly over and over again. And by this time, it was me, Ty Wood, and Nikki DeJesus all next to each other, and we're like, "Don't worry about it. Like, it doesn't matter where he is." And I pulled the shirt off of his head, and I was questioning him, saying, like, "What are you doing with that on your head? Why are you wearing a shirt on your head? You look
So
stupid."
you reached out and you put hands on Mr. Valle.
No, I just kind of went like that. Because he had his shirt up on his head, so I just pulled it down.
Shirt was on his head.
Yes.
You reached out and touched the shirt,
Yes.
but that's not you putting hands on Mr. Valle.
Not in a physical way, no.
You thought you were straightening his shirt out for him, making sure he looked okay to his
Yeah,
tie.
I mean, I never really seen people put their shirt up on their head like that before. I didn't know what he meant by it.
You didn't tell him, Aiden, I don't know where Aiden is.
Yeah, I did say that.
Oh, you did?
I don't know where Aiden is.
Okay. I thought you told him, don't worry about it, I'm right here.
Pretty much, yes.
So that's not, I don't know where Aiden is, right?
I said all of it, yes.
You said, I'm right here.
I believe so, yes.
Indicating to him that you were the person he needed to deal with, right?
No. I was just the person in front of him.
The tip of the spear, so to speak.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you were the first one that was confronting him, right?
Yeah. you said
And you told us that at this point, you know that you had been joined by at least 2 others that you've identified to us, right?
Yes.
And that was Ty Wood?
Yes.
And who was the other person?
Nikki to Jesus.
Can you show us on that exhibit behind you there where they were?
Right next to me.
Yes.
So like right in this area.
Okay. And there's now 3 of you at least.
Yes.
Was there anybody else out there?
Not that I know of. No.
So you think it was just the 3 of you and Mr. Valle?
Yes.
You weren't aware that other people had started to come out of the house?
No.
Could you hear other people?
No.
What was Mr. De Silva doing?
I don't know. He was kind of just standing behind and to the right. I wasn't really paying attention to him. Like after I took off the defendant's shirt off of his head, I was really just locked in, staring him right in the eyes. I wasn't worried about Mr. De Silva.
You were staring him right in the eyes?
Yes.
And you say he had his own shirt up over his head before you reached out and pulled it down. Were you standing in such a way that you were blocking anybody else's view from seeing Mr. Valle?
Objection, how would he know?
Sustained.
You said after you pulled his shirt off of his head that he got crazy and started freaking out, right?
Yes.
Became very argumentative.
Yes.
Asked you, why'd you take his shirt off his head?
Yes.
Asked you, what are you doing touching me?
No.
He took a swing at you.
Who?
Mr. Valle.
No.
No?
No.
You didn't see him take a swing or flinch?
Oh, he was flinching the whole time.
He was flinching the whole time.
Yeah.
Because there were, by your account, 3 people that were facing him.
Yes.
Did you become aware at some point that there were more than just 3 of you out there?
No.
You never became aware that there was more than 3 of you out there?
Well, after I had gotten up from the altercation I had with the defendant.
You said that at least you, Nikki DeJesus, and Ty Wood are talking shit back and forth, right?
Yes.
And that lasted, you said, for 30 to 45 seconds.
Probably yes.
And you were challenging him to fight, right?
No.
What were you saying?
Just talking shit.
And that shit talk didn't involve any challenge to fight?
No, that's not like no, that's not at all. None of us really were saying that at all. Nobody was saying.
The shit talk
let's
just
fight.
involved what? Insulting his clothing?
You could say that, yes.
Did you ever feel anybody push against you from behind?
No.
But out of nowhere, Tyler Rich punches Mr. Valle in the face, right?
Yes.
Where did Tyler Rich come from?
I don't know.
You don't know. So at that point, you would agree it's not just 3 of you, it's at least now 4 of you that are fighting with Mr. Valle.
I'm not sure.
Well, there's you, right?
Yes.
There's Ty Wood, right?
Well, I don't know if he was fighting.
Well, he was right there with you.
Doesn't mean he was fighting.
Okay. Fair enough. Nikki DeJesus was right there with you.
Yes.
And now Tyler Rich was right there with you as well.
No. He just came out of nowhere and punched him in the face.
Right. You would agree he at least was now fighting Mr. Valle, right?
Not that I don't know.
Well, you would at least agree that he punched him in the face out of nowhere, right?
Yes.
And so the 3 of you, Ty Wood, yourself, Nikki DeJesus, you were distracting Mr. Valle so that Ty Rich could punch him in the face.
No.
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 But after Tyler Rich punched him in the face, you backed off, right? And you were like, oh, Tyler Rich has got this.
No.
No. You went forward, you got on top of Mr. Valle, and you told us that you punched him at least twice in the face, right?
Yes.
In fact, people crowded forward at that point, right?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure.
I just know of my actions.
And your actions, at least, were that you punched him twice in the face, right?
Yes.
While he's down on the ground, right?
Yes.
You're over top of him, right?
Yes.
You've got control of him, right?
No.
No. You don't have a handful of shirt in one hand and a punch in the other?
No.
But you would agree you're at least over top of him,
Yes.
delivering these 2 blows.
Yes.
Only 2 blows.
Yes.
Nobody else has joined you in this attack.
Not that I know of, no.
And the crowd didn't push forward.
I don't know what the crowd did.
Crowd didn't swarm around.
I don't know.
You heard screaming.
Yeah.
You heard yelling.
Yeah.
You heard somebody say, "Yes, sir."
No.
You saw it in the video, at least?
Yeah.
That was Tanner Chernowski
Yes.
filming this, right?
Not the beginning of the fight, no. He got the end of the fight.
The video that we see, that was Tanner Chernowski who recorded it, right?
Yeah.
And he was recording that and yelling, "Yes, sir," right?
Yeah.
And that was sort of celebratory, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
You described to us that while you were on top of Mr. Valle punching him, his shoulder and his bicep were held back.
It seemed like that, yeah.
What was holding it back?
I don't know.
And you could see his fist, right?
Yes.
And at some point, you got off of him and walked away, right?
Yeah.
After you felt the stick, right?
Yes.
And you said he wasn't trying to hit you in a certain spot.
No, he was just like, I just seen his fist like this, just going like this repeatedly over and over again.
Flailing wildly.
Yeah.
And your injuries, sir, start sort of at the middle of your body and make their way down into the backside, right?
So yeah, my first one is up more near my armpit, then one's down more by my hip, and then the other one is like my mid-thigh.
Where was Tommy Connery at that point?
I don't know.
Didn't see Tommy Connery? Did you see other people punching or kicking Mr. Valle?
No. Did not.
It was just the 2 of you, isolated.
Yes.
And you told us that after you got off of him, you realized that Tyler De Silva was in a fight, right?
Yes.
And that he was fighting with his own group of people, right?
Yes.
And how many people were fighting with him?
Looked like 2 or 3.
2 or 3?
Yeah.
You did not engage with Tyler De Silva, right?
No, I did not.
You didn't throw any punches or throw any kicks at Tyler De Silva?
No.
The fight took a minute.
Around that, yeah.
Could have been more, maybe 2 or 3 minutes.
No, it was way less.
Probably less. Less than a minute?
Yeah.
You said you only watched the fight with Tyler De Silva, but you agree that other people were throwing punches and blows at Mr. De Silva, right?
Yes.
Tommy Connery didn't come over and get involved and throw some blows at Mr. Valle?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Didn't jump in the middle and separate you?
I don't remember that, no.
Did you see Charlie Connery?
No.
And it was when you heard he's got a knife that Ty Wood pointed out to you that you were bleeding, right?
Yes.
And where was Ty Wood at that point?
He was like right next to me,
And where were you?
right next to him.
And could you show us where that was on the exhibit behind you? Okay. So by that point, you had moved away from where you were originally when you started with Mr. Valle, correct? In fact, when this original interaction or confrontation occurs, it was where you've described as being by the red bush, over by the tree line and the black truck, right?
Yeah.
How did you get from there over to by the tree where you've just pointed to?
I walked.
The fight itself with Mr. Valle, you say, all occurred over where the initial confrontation took place?
Yes.
And when you say you saw the defendant's fist clenched with something in it that you now believe was a knife, that was his right hand, correct?
Yeah, it was his right hand.
You told us when this started, it was just the three of you, Mr. DeJesus, yourself, and Mr. Wood, facing Mr. Valle, correct? At some point, Mr. Rich comes over and joins the three of you and throws this first punch, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Valle hadn't thrown any punches at that point?
No.
Hadn't shown you a knife at that point?
No.
Hadn't threatened you at that point?
No.
And you would agree, would you not, that at least in the video, there are well more than 3 kids involved with fighting?
Fighting who?
Fighting with whoever's out there. There's more than 3 kids that are out there fighting, right?
I'm going to object. That's confusing.
Sustained.
You would agree that in the video, we see more than 3 kids on the video, correct?
Yeah,
That it was a chaotic scene, right?
of course.
That people were rolling around and it was hard to tell who was where, right?
Sure, yeah.
And you never saw Jack Snyder leave the car, right?
No.
And after you backed off of Raul Valle, you could see that he was still fighting with some of the other Shelton High kids, right?
Oh, I have no idea.
You don't recall any of that?
I don't know.
After you backed off of him, you don't recall anything about what else was going on with Mr. Valle? But you do recall that you saw Mr. De Silva fighting,
Yeah, like I got up and I immediately like turn around and I see what's going on with De Silva.
and you just watched.
Yes.
Didn't throw any kicks.
No.
Didn't throw any punches.
No.
Didn't get involved in any way with. And that night you were wearing the green hoodie,
Yes.
black shorts, and the white trim.
Yes.
Other than Tyler Rich throwing the punch at Mr. Valle, can you tell us anybody else who threw a punch that night?
No.
You never saw Mr. Valle punch anybody?
No.
And it was only after you were standing over top of him, punching him, that you felt a stick in your side.
Yeah.
And your recollection is that it was just you and Mr. Valle fighting alone.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Nothing further.
Attorney Durst.
I do have some redirect. You want to take the morning recess at this
I
point?
think probably now is a good time to do that, sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we are going to go ahead and take our